How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about Nancy Pelosi and her comments during some kind of talk or meeting. I'm not quite sure where she was. We'll see the clip in just a moment, but before we even get into the clip, I just want to kind of tee up what's happening. Now, I know most of you have been watching the news, you've been watching my channel. I've talked about the tax breaks, the tax cuts, the bonuses, and whatnot that have come as a result of the tax breaks and tax cuts. I think AT&T was probably the biggest or one of the biggest companies that has come out and given one of the biggest bonuses to their employees. 200,000 employees got a $1,000 bonus. You know, you're talking about $200 million, big money that they're spending on their employees. Also investing in the infrastructure, investing into the company to make it better. Other companies that follow suit. I think you've had Wells Fargo, you've had Bank of America, a lot of other places, a lot of other banks, Verizon, Comcast. Big companies are giving big bonuses and also investing into their company more because they're getting more of their own money back to be able to do with it what they please, rather than having to go to the government and have them waste it essentially on meaningless projects, bridges to nowhere, et cetera, so on and so forth. Now, some people have come out to say crazy things. I saw one tweet talking about the tax cuts are going to cause 10,000 people to. I saw crazy things. I saw one person come out on Twitter. I forget who that was. If I can find it, maybe I'll place it on the screen or in the box below. But they said something like, you're going to have 10,000 people die because of the tax cuts. I'm like, come on. How are you going to cut taxes and have deaths come as a result? That's really crazy. Just because a company or a person is able to keep more of their own money, does that mean that a person's going to die as a result? That's crazy. We live in the United States. We're not some kind of third world place. Even if we were, I don't think tax money would be the difference between life and death for thousands of people. But I digress. The whole point is that the tax breaks has caused a lot of companies to give bonuses and to help all of their employees out, not just the big level people, but also just the regular everyday person. AT&T, they said 200,000 people. That's basically their entire workforce outside of the big wig executives and stuff like that. Their money was given to the everyday person you may see working in an AT&T store or on the line or whatever it is. Now, Nancy Pelosi, to get back to her, she made some comments about the tax breaks and tax cuts. And I think that the comments come from her ivory tower position in the sky. Maybe she doesn't really understand the importance of getting these bonuses for the average everyday person. But before I even get into my thoughts about what she said specifically, what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and roll that clip. After we get done with the clip, of course, I'm going to talk about it and wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Madam Leader. A number of companies are attributing the tax bill for being able to give higher wages to their employees, as well as being able to give a number of bonuses to their employees. How do you respond to that?
Well, the number of bonuses that were given, well, one of the bonuses was already in a union contract, and then they added a little more money to that. That same firm just told their employees that they were going to be laying off 1,500 people, and if they wanted to save their jobs, they could all start working 32 hours in those communities. So in terms of the bonus that corporate America received versus the crumbs that they are giving to workers to kind of put the schmooze on is so pathetic. It's so pathetic. And I would hope that with their big advantage of bringing money home at a very low rate, that they would invest in infrastructure and things. But our experience has been that they will do dividends, they will do stock buybacks and things like that. I think it's insignificant.
Okay, so you saw that. You see what's going on there. Now you see what she said about the bonuses, like they're nothing. Oh, they're just crumbs compared to what the CEOs get. First of all, let's tackle the whole CEO versus regular worker thing. A CEO is an employee the same way a regular worker is. A CEO is just a high paid employee. And many times the CEO worked their way up from the bottom to the top. Okay, you're climbing the ladder. You're not going to just start at the top. You got to start somewhere. If you're working at McDonald's as the fry cook, you may be able to go to be the CEO. That's how it works sometimes. And if not, sometimes you just happen to go through a lot of different things in your life, in your career. Maybe you start off one place and you were able to climb up. You reach the highest of the high. And then maybe you decide to move on to go somewhere else. But you've already made that ascension to get to a high place. So then once you go to the new place, you've already mastered what it takes to get to a certain spot and perform well there. So if you're a CEO at one company, maybe you go to another company, you step up. You might go from the CEO of mom and pop bookshop to the CEO of Barnes and Noble, to the CEO of Walmart, to the CEO of whatever other bigger company or different company you want to have. Maybe you get let go. Maybe you decide to resign. Maybe you want to move closer to your family. Maybe you want to relocate for whatever the reason may be, from the East Coast to the West Coast to the Midwest to down South, different country. The fact is, the point is that you have been able to climb the corporate ladder, so to speak, and you've been able to stay up there as a high level person, CEO, executive, or whatever. So everybody can't be that high level person. That's just what it is. So if you're on a high level, you've worked very hard to get there most of the time, and you get paid accordingly to what your position entails, to your knowledge, to your experience, to your skill. That's just how that works. And the people that are not as high, well, hey, you're just getting in the game. You're just getting your feet wet. You're just now finding out what it takes to be a worker at a certain place. So you get paid accordingly. Maybe you don't have the skills. Maybe you don't have the experience. Maybe you don't have the education. Maybe you did not negotiate your salary, hourly, or whatever it is. So that's where you are. Now, it's okay to be right there. Everybody must be at a certain point in their life. The majority of us, the 99% of us must be there at a certain point, unless you just got appointed to a place by your dad or something like that. But that's not a necessarily common thing to have happen. The point is this: the money that a CEO gets is not really important when you're talking about the money that the regular worker gets. Yes, it's going to be a difference, but that's fine because, like I explained, there's differences in the level of skill, experience, responsibilities, whatever. If you're on the bottom level of the pay in the company, if you get $1,000 for a bonus, that's humongous. Because think about it. I mean, some people have kids. They may be struggling, trying to pay for school to try and get themselves in a higher place. So $1,000, that could be a lot of money, especially right around Christmas time. I remember when the AT&T tax cut bonus came out, there was a memo from, I think, the CEO of AT&T that said, hey, if Trump signs bill before Christmas, you have the money before Christmas. I mean, don't you know how important that is to have that kind of money right around Christmas time, right around time when things get tight, when you're trying to provide for your children, trying to give them a good Christmas, will also provide food, clothing, and shelter, the basic necessities. Money gets tight right around that time. So $1,000 at that point in time, that's big. To call it crumbs, for her to say that was really just kind of insensitive, because $1,000 to her may be crumbs, but to someone else may be the world. Okay. So you got to put yourself in a position of somebody that is on a lower level of the pay, lower level of skill, low level of talent, or whatever it is, and look at things from their point of view. That helps them a lot. And also the amount of money, maybe it could be more, but you may not be able to spread it around to as many people. AT&T gave 200,000 people. I'm gonna say that one more time. AT&T gave 200,000 people $1,000. That's $200 million. So what if they gave them $10,000? It would have been too much. You're talking about into the billions. It's too much. Okay. So they gave them that amount of money that was spread out among a lot of people that made sense for the company, and it helped the people. Any kind of money that you get right now during a time where people are struggling is a bonus. $1,000 is not crumbs. To Nancy Pelosi living in the Ivory Tower, surrounded by poverty. Same thing with Maxine Waters. These people living in compounds, living in mansions, living in a lap of luxury from doing politics. And by the way, I'm not really sure how you can be, a 100 millionaire from being a politician, but I digress. My whole point is that they live in these ivory towers, just bathing in coins like Scrooge McDuck, and they look down on the people that are in the valley, so to speak, below them, like they're nothing, like they're garbage, like they're trash. Okay, so they can't empathize with what they're going through because they can only look at things from their point of view and their nice, privileged, comfy life. So what do you think? Do you think that the bonuses that people are getting from these companies, AT&T, Verizon, et cetera, are good for the workers? If so, please tell me why. If not, please tell me why. Why would $1,000 not be good for a person that happens to work for AT&T or Verizon? Just a regular everyday person that might make $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. How was that not a good thing? Would you rather them get nothing? Would you rather them get more and then have the amount of people that will be able to get it reduced? I mean, at the end of the day, as I close, you got to be able to do with real facts here. You got to be able to sit at a table and look at a balance sheet of money and say, how much can I afford to spend on a certain thing? Do I have enough money for this or that? I need to have enough money to be able to go around to put back into the company, to put into my employees, to put into infrastructure, whatever it is. I need to have enough money. If a certain thing is going to cost too much money, I can't do it. If I do not have enough capital on hand because it's been taken by taxes, then I can't do it. If I get that money back from taxes, now I have more cash that is freed up. I'm able to do more things. Look at it from a facts and figures point of view. Don't take it personally when it comes to business, because business is never personal. But whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.